Hello everyone, my name is Larry Johnson. I'm the author of a wide range of fiction. I write under the pen name Ghost. Today I'm here to dispel the myth that the Power TV series is an original TV series. Today I just want to show you and demonstrate how the premise for the show was stolen from out of my first novel, Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid. Today I will start with Ghost, the Ghost character of the Power. I want to show you how the creators of Power tried to take the book out of its original form and form what you all know as Power. The Ghost character comes from a character in my book. His name is Prince, Percy Prince Miller. So let me read to you a little out of my book, some of the character build-up of the character Prince. You all know Power, so let me just give you a little bit of my character, Prince. Prince knew he had to be smart to protect himself. At 32 years old, he still took pride in his goatee and 360 waves. He was the only member of the notorious gang called the Juice Crew left in the streets of Richmond. They controlled the streets back in the 80s, supplying the whole city with dope and coke. The description that I just gave you of my character is exactly the way the Power character Ghost, he looks. He looks well into his early 30s, and it goes on to talk about the crew started off extorting all the hustlers. If you sold any drugs back in that part of time in those days, you had to pay the crew. And I go to season 2, episode 5, where Ghost and his crew, they extort some fellow drug dealers, and that comes from my book as well. We'll move along. Of course, I write under the pen name Ghost. I've been writing under this name for over a decade. And so what the creators of Power did, they took my most strongest character out of Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, used the author's name and the circumstances surrounding that character, and that's how Power was made. Allow me to demonstrate. Prince was the last of a dying breed. At 6'3", the dark-skinned, muscular OG was financially set. The years of hustling produced huge amounts of cash that Prince stacked away carefully for his future away from the game. He wasn't going to be another statistic. Prince saw too many OGs get caught up in quick money and blow it on a flashy lifestyle that could be taken away by the feds or any other gangster trying to move in on his game. It's a sudden urgency to become legit and leave behind their game. It's the same thing. This is where, even from their physical attributes, everything, what I'm saying? Just keep listening. Let's go to Power for a second. I don't know any wrinkled drug dealers. They're either dead or inside, Tasha. That doesn't scare you? This club is the dream. We could get out. We could have it all. Ghost talking to his wife. The author's narration is basically the same thing, identical. Tribulations versus Power. And we'll go to my Prince character, again, in which the Power character Ghost originated from. And let's read a little bit about Prince. Everyone respected Prince. He took a couple young cats under his wing, but still played everyone from a distance, keeping people guessing. Prince was on a mission and wasn't interested in making new friends. He trusted no one. Now let's go to Power. This is Tommy talking. They're in a meeting with fellow hustlers. Why you switch up on the meeting at the last minute? Rollo asks Tommy. You never can be too careful. You got to keep them guessing. Tommy says in a sit down with other members of the crew. Again, you got to pay attention to the author's narration, because the writers, the creators of Power, depended heavily on the narration to develop these characters, keeping people guessing. That's Prince, that's his makeup. And so when they were forming these characters, they used my narration, basically just created images to basically act out the scenes in my book. Let's move on. One of his favorite places was Las Vegas. Whenever Evander was fighting, he would have 2 ringside tickets. Prince kept a female by his side when he visited places like that. Everything was reserved, to the hotel suites, to the cars, even the women. Again, what this shows is that in the In the Power TV series, Ghost is a cheater basically. And in my book, my character Prince, you see he dealt with multiple females. You see his lifestyle. He's in Las Vegas. He's getting tickets from famous boxers and all that. This is how they develop this ghost character. Allow me to continue. Prince was highly respected, from the street hustlers, ballers, to the entertainers. Everyone knew who he was when he came through. Prince had the most popular night spot down there, the Shop Bar on Peach Street, one of the liveliest streets in Atlanta. Again, in Power, Ghost has the hottest nightclub in New York City. All the writers did was change the names and the locations. Prince had made a fortune off the restaurant as well, especially the Shop Bar in Atlanta. It had 3 floors, attracted all the big time stars. Everybody who was anybody hung out there, netting Prince well over $1 million last year alone. Again, Wanda was overwhelmed. Wanda, who you all know in the TV series is Tasha. In my book, her name is Wanda. Wanda was overwhelmed when Prince led her to the VI section of his club. It absolutely blew her mind to walk in a room and rub shoulders with some of her favorite rappers, entertainers. Jermaine Dupri, Outkast, the whole entire Dungeon family were lounging in VIP, surrounded by some of the most beautiful women Wanda had ever laid eyes on. She had no idea her man was this large. He introduced her to everyone, even the people who ran his nightclub. My character Prince have a nightclub, the hottest nightclub in Atlanta. Ghost in Power have a nightclub, the hottest nightclub in New York City. 3 floors in this nightclub. My character has a club with 3 floors. The hottest nightclub. It's identical. Prince couldn't afford to be running from the cops. He was a businessman and had a lot invested. He told Wanda he would turn himself in next week, but first needed time to handle some business and spend time with his family. Now, I'm going to Power now. Season 1, Episode 1. Ghost and Tommy speaking. We were young then. Mobile Tommy. I got too much shit going on now to go into hiding. The kids, the club, Ghost speaking to Tommy. In both cases, in Tribulation of a Ghetto Kid and in Power, in both cases, business and family are the reasons, in both cases, why Prince or Ghost can't go into hiding. It's the same identical scenes. In the very first chapter, when I introduced my character Prince, they're at a club that the whole crew has. They got this club and they call it the club. They refer to it as the club. And Prince murdered a man in the very beginning of the book. And I describe him like this. Prince slips out of the side door without being noticed to murder a man. Season 1, Episode 1. Sean, Ghost driver, tells Ghost that he's wanted downstairs of the basement, in the basement, where Ghost eventually kills a man right in the beginning of the TV series. You know, so in both cases, both of them were killed. That's established. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. Prince and Justice were shooting a game of 8-ball while toking on some weed. In that same scene, Prince murders a man, right? Let's go to Power. This is season 2, episode 3. Kanan and Tommy shoots at least 3 men in a similar setting where they are playing pool at a clubhouse. Same identical scenes, just different characters. Again, this is Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. The character Prince in my book, both his mother and his father were deceased. You go to Power, Ghost is standing outside his nightclub. Truth, he's looking at the sky and he says, "I did it, Pops," which is a clear indication that his Pops is no longer living. In season 2, episode 10, Tommy and Ghost are in an argument, and Ghost and Tommy says to Ghost, "A drunk for a father and no mother," which is a clear indication that the Ghost character had no parents. Same thing, the characters are identical. Okay, this is Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus the Power TV series. Again, we're still on the Prince character. I want to break this thing down and make it crystal clear for you all. This is the character build-up of the Ghost character. And I'm reading from Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid. Prince had money invested in everything, but he preferred to stay in the background. He wasn't comfortable with a lot of attention, so he stayed low and he watched his money grow. Tommy in Power. Season 1, they're at the nightclub. Ghost is about to take a picture when his friend Tommy just run up on him and tell him, no picture. Can't take a picture. Why? Because you was a drug dealer, that's why. My character, he was a very reserved type person and he didn't take pictures. It's the same thing. They took all this from my work. So these scenes are identical as well. And we're still dealing with Prince. The second month, Prince was on the grind. He told them that he had plans and wasn't trying to hustle all his life. I suggest you two stack your paper. Okay, that's Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid. Again, Prince is talking about being legit, being a businessman, and he don't want to hustle no more. Let's go to Power. This is a scene, season 1, episode 4. And this is Ghost speaking. We need to get to the bottom of this, talking to Tommy, so that things can get back to normal. We need our shit to run smoothly so that we can think about other things. What other things? Asks Tommy. Ghost replies, not this. Meaning he's speaking about hustling drugs again. He want to go totally legit. And you go to a Power TV series and you have Ghost telling his best friend Tommy that he don't want to hustle no more. They got other plans and drugs that's not in them. Same identical scenes. Let's move on. We're still on Ghost and Prince, Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. So let's go to Prince. This is his son talking. And just like in Power, Ghost have a son around the same age. And his son asks his dad, Dad, why would someone shoot you? Okay? Prince hated lying to his son. In Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, my character Prince gets shot. Let's go to Power. And this is Ghost's son talking about his father to his mother. And he's saying to his mother, other kids' father don't own nightclubs. They don't get shot at work. We're talking about Tribulations of Ghetto Kid versus the Power TV series. We're dealing with the Prince character and the Ghost character. Prince, Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, Ghost, Power. Okay? Now, it's a character in Power, his name is Dre, and it's the guy who is up under the Kanan character. I have a similar character in my book, his name is Jeffrey. Let me just read this to you. And this is a conversation between Jeffrey and Prince. They meet at a restaurant. Okay? Jeffrey talking to Prince. I was just thinking about what we talked about. You right. These streets ain't for me. I'm going to focus on my education. Jeffrey speaking to Prince. Now let's go to Power and the guy Dre speaking to Ghost. Okay? First of all, they meet at a restaurant, the same setting. And this is what Dre says. I don't want to be on the corner for the rest of my life. A restaurant scene, both characters going to their mentor and they're both saying, I don't want to be in the streets. I want to do something with my life. It's the same thing. This is season 2, episode 8. Still on Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. Let's read from Tribulations about Prince. Prince was forced into manhood, a cutthroat survivor on the unforgiving streets of Southside Richmond. One thing was for certain. He gained plenty of knowledge during his 30-plus years on Earth and knew without a doubt who he was, where he come from, and what his true potential was. Prince had a plan and was determined to make it work, right? Prince had set goals and nearly accomplished them all. He made the quota he planned to reach, got out of the game and stayed out. He cleaned his money and went legit. Prince wasn't stupid. He knew the feds were still trying to build a case on him, right? Now, as I said, the Power character, Ghost, and the character in Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, my character, Prince, these two characters are identical. The character Ghost is actually trying to reach the status that Prince is in. Because in my book, he's actually out of the game for 3 years. He's legit. He's a legit millionaire. So, you know, what the creators of Power did, they basically took that character, they created a story before he became that millionaire. His goal is to make it to be legit, just like Prince. Prince is the leader of a crew called the Juice Crew. And they got that crew by basically terrorizing the streets, extorting the drug dealers. So they became this crew who were feared all over the city of Richmond. And if you look at Power, man, it's the same thing. Ghost and his crew, they're fearless. And anybody who gets in their way, they kill. Okay? Let's go here to Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid. Again, it's the author's narration. And here we go. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid. Prince was the brains of the crew. Ghost was the mastermind of his crew. He was the brains. Tommy always came to him for counsel. Season 1, episode 3. I got another plan. We shut everything down. We have us a meeting. I sit across the table and I look all these motherfuckers in the eyes and find out who's hit me once and for all. Until then, no one gets product. Okay? Spread the effing word. Now that sounds like a boss talk. That sounds like a man who was in charge. Okay? Same as my book, The Juice Crew. This is Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid. Let me give you a little history about these guys. The Juice Crew was there to set an example that day. Justice was determined to let it be known that you simply do not cross the crew. The man had shown defiance and the crew was there to put the final nail in the coffin. A message to the living, right? Now, in my book, Tribulations, this is the crew, the Juice Crew, setting an example for some potential enemies or whoever. They're setting an example. Somebody actually gets killed during this time. So let's go to Power and Ghost. Let's go to Tommy first. And this is Tommy in Power, Season 1, Episode 1. Tommy says, then it's on. Tommy says in a meeting with Ghost, take down the whole fucking crew. We show everybody you can't fuck with us like the old days before Kanan went inside. And that's Tommy talking about setting an example against some potential enemies. Let's go to Ghost talking about setting an example. Okay, now this is Ghost. This is Ghost Season 1, Episode 2. We take that shit to the next level. Show everybody we're not afraid to do dirt. We do it right and shut this shit down for good. Ghost speaking about setting an example. This character Justice is Tommy, basically. Justice is actually one of the characters that the creators of Power used to create the character Tommy. Okay, we're back. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power TV series, and we're focused on the Juice Crew, Prince, Justice. Okay, just like Power and Tommy and Ghost. Author's narration again. They were making millions off the dope. Chapter 4, page 24. This is the Juice Crew. Okay. They were making millions off the dope. When the feds busted the crew, the Juice Crew, they confiscated houses, all the cars except for 2, 3.4 million in cash, 12 kilos of powder cocaine, and 5 kilos of heroin. The law enforcement, couldn't believe the extent of their lucrative operation. Okay? Now, so, you see here that the Juice Crew were very fearless. They had money. They had the city of Richmond on lock as far as with the drug game, okay? Let's go to Power TV series. You know Ghost and his crew, they have multiple stash houses where they keep drugs, where they keep money, okay? Also, it talks about a raid in my book. It talks about the feds busting the Juice Crew. And also, in Season 2, Episode 9, Tommy, Lobos, the whole the crew are raided by the FBI. They take money, they take guns, all kinds of stuff. So right there, there's a crew in my book, a crew who have the streets on lock, killings, murder, money, mayhem, everything. And Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid. In Power, it's the same thing. A crew, money, mayhem, everything. This is identical. And when you look at Power, they always talk about a crew. The crew. It's because they got it from this crew. The Juice Crew. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. Okay? Narration. Author's narration. Again, pay attention to the narration. That's what the creators of Power use heavily to rely on to form and build their story. So, he knew it was going to be hard, difficult now that the feds knew his face and had his crew on lock. No matter what, Prince promised to hold his people down and stay out of prison. Prince hadn't written or called anyone, trying to minimize any chance of the feds connecting him to the crew. Right? Let's go to Power. Season 2, episode 9. Tommy and Lobos is arrested, but Ghost has a plan to free Tommy. He promised to hold Tommy down and stay free, just like in my book. You see, in that episode, Ghost don't plan on going to jail, but he promises to save his best friend from going to prison. So that is the Prince, and that's the short version of Prince and Ghost. That was just the short version. Let's go to Tasha, the Tasha character, who is Ghost's wife. Okay. Now in my book, her name is Wanda. Her name is Wanda, and his name is Prince. All right. Let's go to character development. Okay. Wanda. Let's talk about character development. My narration. Wanda was a sexy black sister. Her smile attracted most men. Chapter 59, page 314. Revealing the stunning mahogany brown-skinned beauty that was once his world. Chapter 9, page 55. Okay? Another character in my book, CJ, focused his attention on the woman parked next to him who looked just as good as the truck she was leaning on. There was no way he could walk past such a pretty face without saying something. Wanda was looking like a supermodel, standing there with the tight Coogee short set on. Chapter 59, page 313. Wanda is the character in my book. She's Prince's fiance. Tasha is the character in Power. She's Ghost's wife. These women are identical. Identical. Again, this is Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus the Power TV series. We're on the character Wanda from Tribulations, and we're on the character Tasha from Power TV series. And what I'm giving you is character development. I'm showing you how these characters were developed. That's what I'm giving you. Wanda thinks on a low level. Project mentality. Now listen to the narration. This is Prince and Wanda in a restaurant. And this is Prince speaking. Do you know how fucked up it is for you to be living in the projects when I have all this money? I wanted to give you everything, but all you did was push me away. Right? Okay. Now, the similarity with this is, if you're watching Power, whenever Ghost bring up anything about his desire to become legit, she always blows him off. She blows him off. She don't want to hear it. She likes what she's content at what they are doing in the drug business. And in return, what that does to a man like Ghost or to Prince, it discourages him. It pushes him away. Just like in my book, that's why she's still living in the projects. Because my character, his dreams were too big and she couldn't see it. So they grew apart. Just like in Power, the character Tasha, she's not feeling him when he's talking about going legit. Ghost runs to another woman, arms of another woman who supports his dreams. And so the character Wanda and Tasha have very similar traits. They look alike, and their traits are very similar. But you also want to see some similarities in the character Angela, who I will get to in a minute. Let's keep watching. Season 1, episode 1. Tasha only saw Ghost as the biggest drug dealer in New York, when he saw much more, you know, when he looked at himself. Okay? Now, this scene right here, from Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, this scene right here, I want to read Prince talking to Wanda about setting up a bank account and getting her bills, consolidated, and just getting her credit together. Okay, girl, I hollered at a friend of mine yesterday about you. Her name is Destiny Chavez, a sharp financial consultant, willing to help you out. She's gonna help you repair your credit, consolidate them bills, and teach you how to make long-term investments with part of your savings. Basically, she's gonna get your shit straight like you wanted it for years. This is when you look at Power TV series, season 1, episode 5. Tasha goes to the bank and discovers that Ghost is taking money out of their joint account for the club. He didn't tell her because he didn't think that she would understand. Okay? Now basically the similarities here is, you see here that they are working together, they are partners, and my character Prince helps his fiance they get joint bank accounts. So when you look at Power and you see them already established and they got bank accounts, money in there, they got it from here. Tasha from Power and Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, Wanda from Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, and I'm giving you the author's narration. Wanda stepped out looking like $1 million, wearing a strapless Armani dress, some sheer stockings, and black high heel pumps. You go to Power, season 1, episode 1. Tasha wore a black strapless dress with black pumps. Same descriptions, same outfits, clothes. Let's keep watching. We're still on Tasha. Tribulations versus Power. Okay. Prince arrives to take them out, his family, to Red Lobster. It was the first time they had been together since their breakup. Okay? And that's chapter 9, pages 57 and 58. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid. But in Power, season 2, episode 6, Ghost arrives home from taking the kids out. The couple had separated, and it was Ghost's first time home in a while. Same identical scenes. And if you go on, Wanda fell back shedding a private happy tear for the moment. Night after night, she dreamed of them being a happy, loving family. In Power, season 2, episode 6, Tasha stands back shedding a private tear as Ghost speaks and interacts with his kids. It's the same identical scene. Same identical scenes. Let's move on. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. Author's narration. It had been 3 months since they left Richmond for their Atlanta estate. Their house was worth a couple millions. It was the fairy tale life she'd always dreamed of. Talking about Wanda, right? Let's go to Power. Ghost and Tasha lived in an expensive house. Damn, girl, Ghost keeps you laced. This is Tasha's best friend, Lakeisha. Okay? Ghost keeps you laced. I don't care. I'll take your hand-me-downs as long as you giving them out to me. Again, this is Tribulation of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. We are talking from the Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, author's narration. Prince and Wanda separates in Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid. In the Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, they separate and they unite under very strange circumstances. Wanda witnesses a murder and Prince sends for her for fear of her safety. The strange circumstances is she witnesses a murder and Prince sends for her. Okay, those are the strange circumstances. Let's go to Power, the Power TV series. Ghost and Angela. And remember I told you that my character Wanda and Tasha and Angela is traits from my character in both of these females. Tasha and Angela and Power. So Ghost and Angela lost contact or separated and got back together under very strange circumstances. The strange circumstances is she is a FBI agent and Ghost is the head of the drug enterprise that she happens to be investigating. Those are the very strange circumstances. In both cases, season 1, episode 5, and then the Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid is chapter 9, page 56 and 57. Moving on, this is Ghost and Angie, and this is Prince and Wanda. And we're reading from The Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, author's narration. God, I miss you to death, Prince. I was a damn fool. Her apology was interrupted by the slowest, most passionate kiss she'd had in what seemed an eternity. So we go to Power. Season 1, episode 1, and this is Angela talking to Ghost. Jamie, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I left the way I did. I should have been there for you. In both cases, book and TV series, both women are offering an apology for the way that they left, the relationship. In both cases, book and TV series, the same thing. It's the very same thing. And we'll move on. We're still dealing with Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. Ghost and Angie and Power, and Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, Prince and Wanda. This is Wanda. You promised to never leave me and your son. You said that when your money was right, we will leave this life behind. Okay? Chapter 9, page 57, in Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid. Okay? Now, that is Wanda. Basically, they're talking at dinner, and Wanda just basically says, he made a promise to her long ago that as soon as he made the amount of money that he planned to make, they would leave that negative lifestyle behind. Let's go to Power and Ghost and Angie. They are at a restaurant. They're at a restaurant like my characters, right? Angie speaks. But now we're both out like we planned. Ghost says, not exactly the way we planned, right? And what this clearly indicates is they had, like my characters, a previous conversation, an earlier conversation about a better life, about the both of them having a better life, just like my two characters. They tried to hide my story in their characters, but I know these characters. Again, we're dealing with Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, Prince and Wanda. This is Prince talking after Wanda comes back into his life. Okay? I knew you were coming back to me one day. I swore that when that day came, I would never let you go again. Prince and Wanda at the restaurant. Now let's go to Power. It's chapter 15, page 97. Let's go to Power. And this is Angela and Ghost speaking. Angela asks, what happens now? Angela asks, as she and Ghost are leaving the restaurant. Again, the same setting, a restaurant setting. This is Ghost's response. I don't know, but I'm not letting you go again. In both scenarios, both men says that they would never let the woman go again. After both women comes back, in both cases, I would never let you go again. Prince, my character, says the same exact thing. This is my character. This Ghost character is my character. And the Angie character. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. Prince gives Wanda a diamond ring. Chapter 15, page 106. In Power, Ghost sends Angela a diamond necklace. Again, both women are receiving jewelry from the same man. Like I said, the Ghost character was developed from Prince. So in both cases, both of these women are receiving a gift, which is jewelry. Now let's go back. Tribulations of Ghetto Kid. And this is another exhibit, another similarity. It's so many, but I promise you, this is the short version. Prince speaks to Wanda. You know, this time we've been apart, I never stopped loving you. Prince's comment brought a smile to Wanda's face. Those watching saw a perfect, loving family. Prince still hadn't interacted much with his child's mother. Let's go to Power, the TV series. Season 1, Episode 4. Ghost speaks to Angela. I never stopped thinking about you all these years. Same thing. My character says, you know this time we've been apart, I never stopped loving you. Ghost says to Angie, I never stopped thinking about you all these years. Alright, Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. This is Wanda, author's narration. Chapter 8, page 198. Wanda loved Atlanta and told Prince she didn't want to go back to Richmond. He told her it was their home, but he needed to take care of the warrant. As soon as we get this straight, then we can leave Richmond for good. Prince couldn't afford to be running from the cops. He was a businessman and had a lot invested. Okay? Now, that's chapter 8, page 198. And let's go to Power, the Power TV series. Season 2, episode 3. Alright? In Miami on business, Ghost and Angela wakes up in a 5-star suite. Angela says, I was just thinking, what would it be like to live here? It's still the plan, right? Ghost responds, it was, still is the plan, Ghost says, soon as I get the club back from Stern, okay? Excuse me. In both scenarios, the scenes are virtually the same. Both women are seeking a better life in another state. Prince can't go because of a warrant he wants to be settled. Ghost can't go because he must get his club back. So these scenes are virtually the same. Virtually the same. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. Chapter 4, page 29. This is Prince talking to Wanda. Now you're gonna break my heart. In Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, Wanda broke Prince's heart because she started dealing with another guy while he was in prison or whatever. In Power, the TV series, season 2, episode 3, Tommy warns Ghost about Angela because he says that she one time broke his heart, and in both scenarios, both men had their hearts broken, and that's a similarity. Prince walked slowly around his little gym, whistling as he gazed. Lord, girl, you hurting something. Shorty, you need to be on a runway somewhere in Hollywood, right? She wore her hair natural, out in little crinkles just the way he liked it. Okay, and that's chapter 15, page 98. Let's go to Power, the TV series. Ghost and Angie is in Miami. I think they may be going out. Season 2, episode 3, she comes out of the room with this nice dress on. She got her hair styled nicely. And Ghost walks circles around her, you know, and tells her that she needs to be a model. She looks like a model. He compliments her. In both cases, this is the same scenario. I have a character named Angie in my book as well, and author's narration. She didn't know how long. All that mattered was that he called her. After packing a few things, Angie paused in the middle of the floor and looked around her house. She didn't really want to leave, but she was in love. As long as they were together, it didn't matter where they were. Now, that's Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid. In Power TV series, Angela is asked by Ghost, he wants her to go to Miami. The first time he asked, she didn't want to go. She had business at work, or she gave him some kind of excuse. But she did end up actually going on the trip. But these scenes are strikingly similar because they're both going on a trip with someone that they're in love with. And the similarity is that these women have the same names and they're doing the same exact things. They switched around the characters. They did a whole lot of mixing around when they were doing the writing to Power. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. Again, author's narration, chapter 9, page 105. Talks about a pretty hot sex scene. And I read the author's narration. The couple makes passionate love in a 5-star hotel suite that starts in the bedroom and ends on the hotel room balcony, where they are met with an applause from the balcony below. Wanda's face flushed as the two engages in a passionate kiss, virtually unfazed by their audience. Season 1, episode 7, Angela and Ghost, they engage in this hot sex scene. You can see the entire city in the background. Basically, you know, the glass window, those who are familiar with Power, it's virtually the same scene. My characters are having sex on the balcony for everyone to see. The Ghost and Angela characters are having sex in a similar type scene. There's really no difference here. You know, that's it for Angie. Okay, let's go to Holly. Okay, in my book, Tribulation of a Ghetto Kid versus Power, I have a white girl in my book. Her name is Christy. She's described in my book as a real live freak who is very similar to the character in Power. Her name is Holly, who is a white girl as well. She also is a thief. Not only is she a thief, she's working for the FBI to help bring her boyfriend home. Okay? In Power, you have Holly, who is a freak. They have a couple sex scenes in there. Holly is also a thief. She stole on 2 different occasions in the TV series. She is also working for the FBI to save her boyfriend from going to prison. So, in both scenarios, Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid and Power, they have this white girl, same characteristics, same character traits, everything. And in my book, you can go to chapter 30, page 159, and read about Christy, who is actually Holly and Power. In Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power, on chapter 20, pages 146 through 147, it talks about nightclubs not being safe anymore. All over the city, clubs were being shut down because the 2 sides would bump heads and shoot out with each other right outside the place. When you go to Power, the TV series, the character Harley was shot in a nightclub. She a bullet that was meant for ghosts. It talks about a war in my book. This was one of the worst years in the city's history. The murder rate skyrocketed. Excuse me, Captain, this is the detectives talking. But I, for one, can't see how Percy Miller would tie in with the rest of our problems. For God's sake, sir, we have a goddamn street war out here. Innocent people are dying. And when you go to Power and you're looking at Power, you see innocent people are being shot like Holly. Also, it's a war going on in Power. Season 1, episode 2, a series of murder follows where body parts are being delivered in various places to Ghost and Tommy's competition. In both scenarios, in Tribulations, a war is going on. In Power, a war is going on between drug dealers. Let's keep it moving. Again, we're talking about Christy from Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid. We're talking about Power from Holly. Author's narration. FBI had surveillance pictures of them all over Virginia Beach. They had pictures of them getting down on the sand. The agent was amazed at how well Christy performed. Okay, again, like I said, my character Christy is working for the FBI, and in the Power TV series, Holly is working for the FBI to save her boyfriend. Both scenarios are the same thing. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. From the first time, author's narration, L.A. laid eyes on Christy, a white girl. He didn't trust her. There was just something about those blue eyes that revealed evil. Now let's go to Power, the TV series. Ghost doesn't like Holly at all. While Tommy, Tasha, and Holly sat around the table rapping lyrics from an old song, Ghost is obviously upset at Tommy for bringing her to his home. In both scenarios, these characters, the character here in my book that I'm speaking about, his name is L.A., but he's a protege of Prince. So in both scenarios, they do not like the friend's girl, who happens to be a white girl. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. That's Holly and that's Christy. Let's go to some more characters. Let's go to Sean from Power, who happens to be Kanan's son and Ghost driver. Let me show you where he came from. In Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, chapter 33, page 130 through 131, he was a brown-skinned kid with a low-cut Caesar. Fresh out of college, the 6'3" athlete was a star shooting guard for the VCU Rams. His second year on the team, they made it to the championship. On a fast break to score his 35th point, Randy was undercut in mid-air by one of the rival players. He went down hard, shattering his ankle in 3 places and destroying his career. Okay? If you're watching Power, the TV series, you know that Sean was an ex-basketball player who I think he shattered his knee and he destroyed his career. And in my book, the guy, his name is Randy, who's actually the athlete. His name is Randy. After he destroyed his career with the injury, he started to work for Prince. In Power, after Sean destroyed his career from the injury, he became Ghost Driver. So these people are the same. They work for the same people. It's the same scenario. Okay? Now, in my book, Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, you have on chapter 9, page 263, 2 women, they go to identify a body. The officer said, "Ma'am, before I pull this sheet back, I feel the need to warn you that it's not a pretty sight." In Power, Tasha and her best friend, Lakeisha, goes to identify Sean's body after he's killed. Same scenario. 2 women going to identify a body. Let's go to Lakeisha. Her name is Lala, and her name is Lakeisha in the TV series, Power TV series. Let's go to Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid to see where she came from. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. Wanda is Prince's wife. She has one best friend named Shell, referred to in the book as Nosy Shell. Okay, now let's go to some description. Jeffrey couldn't help but notice a pretty young chick checking him from afar. 5'6" with light brown eyes. Keisha was the prettiest girl in the whole school. Chapter 5, page 19. The character you know is Lala, who plays Lakeisha. I have a character in my book who have the same name description. The same name description. So you tell me. We're moving on. Tribulations versus Power. I have a character in my book named Dana. She happens to be a scripper. She is kidnapped at gunpoint and she is brought back to Virginia, Richmond, Virginia from North Carolina. LA uses Dana as a tool to get closer to his enemies so that he could kill them, right? Dana plays an important part in moving LA closer to his enemies. Dana also plays a vital role in putting LA in position to gain some crucial information in attaining the actual location of his enemies. Dana befriends Monica, who is the girlfriend of Bernard. Bernard is the person they came to kill. Lastly, Dana calls LA from Monica's apartment with Bernard in the next room. Bernard is killed the next chapter. And this is chapter 73, page 74, 374 through 378. And this is the character in my book. And if you go to the Power TV series, there's a Latino female who works for 50 Cent. 50 Cent sends this girl to kill Ghost. She's making hits for 50 Cent, basically. And he uses her to strategically get closer to his enemies, just like in my book. The only difference is she's a Latino female. And she poses as a stripper to get closer to the guy, Ruiz, or one of the guys that works for Ghost. She poses as a stripper to get closer to him. So in both of these scenarios, both of these girls, they're strippers. Both of them are being used to get closer to the guy they work for, their enemies. And that's it for Lala. Lakeisha. We'll move on to Kanan. Okay. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. In my book, Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, I have a character. His name is Bernard, who is described as a bully in my book. Bernard was known as one of the most treacherous gangsters of the 80s. You know Kanan. I'm just going to read you my character. Big Lee was a 300-pound thug with nothing but solid muscle. Big Lee had his way throughout the jail. The deputies were petrified of him. He didn't eat the food the rest of the inmates ate. Whatever the deputies ate, Big Lee ate. Now, let's go to Kanan and Power. Kanan runs the jail. Special visits. The guards in jail keep him with fresh burner phones so that he can continue to conduct business inside jail. These two guys are strikingly similar. Both of them have a history of being gangsters in the past. This guy, Kanan, I'm going to show you how they took 3 of my characters and developed this Kanan character. I'm going to show you. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. Author's narration. And this is Bernard talking. Somebody gonna die before they put my brother in the ground. Chapter 11, page 18. Y'all niggas trying to ride tonight? Question. It was more of a command than a question. No doubt. Word. We're gonna ride through that spot and shoot everything moving out that bitch. Bernard speaking. Okay? Now, author's narration. Bernard didn't have a clue who LA was, but it didn't matter. He already made up his mind that someone would die out there tonight. It didn't matter who. Blood was all Bernard wanted. Let's go to Power, the TV series. And this is Kanan talking. We gonna catch ghosts coming out of the club. Ride by and spray that motherfucker like it's 1992. I don't give a fuck who out there. Okay? These guys are they're saying virtually the same thing. They're saying the absolute same thing. The only difference in these two scenes is Bernard in the book has a crew present while Kanan is talking on the phone to a crew member. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. Bernard sits in the window clutching an AR-15 assault rifle. Chapter 75, page 386. Let's go to Power. Season 2, episode 10. Kanan sits in the window with an automatic gun in his hand. Again, my character Bernard sits in the window with an AR-15 assault rifle, and then season 2, episode 10, Kanan sits in the window with a handgun. Same scene, different gun. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. Okay? In Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, Bernard rapes a female named Angie while her boyfriend listens over the phone. Okay? In Power, season 2, episode 10, Kanan and Ghost fights, and Kanan gets the best of Ghost. Kanan tells Ghost that he used to fantasize while in prison about fucking his wife, Tasha, and making Ghost watch. Okay? Season 2, episode 10. Now, let's go to another character, Tommy. Okay? Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power, chapter 30, page 151. In the car, Chrissy presses Black to confess the murder. Okay? In Power, season 1, episode 5, in the car, Holly presses Tommy to confess that he is more than a club owner. As I said before, the creators of Power, they used more than one character, maybe three characters to make this guy Tommy. Again, Black was angry with Prince for going legit. and not giving up his connect. That's chapter 39, page 210. Again, let's go to Power. Tommy is mad at Ghost when he is more focused on the club and becoming legit. Season 1, episode 3. And I want to note as well, Tommy was made from 3 characters in my book. In my book, in Tribulation of a Ghetto Kid, I have a character who is described as a crazy white boy named Outcast. Okay, that's one. Again, the creators of Power use the character description and traits of my character, Christy, who, it says in my book, speaks, talks black, and dresses black. Christy, they use that to make Tommy. Again, I got a character named Black in my book who is a cold-blooded killer. They use him, and also Justice. We're in Tribulation of a Ghetto Kid. Justice had a feeling that he didn't have long on the streets. The crew was doing too much dirt, and it was just a matter of time before the feds brought their party to an end. That's Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, chapter 4, page 32. Let's go to Power. Tommy confesses to Holly that he is at the top in the drug trade. He goes on to say that he got a crew of motherfuckers moving serious weight, and if he ever got arrested, he would be gone forever. You know, basically these things are similar, and that's season 1, episode 6. In my book, the author narration says that if the feds ever caught up with this crew, they'll be gone forever. Tommy expresses to his girlfriend that if the feds ever came for him, he would be gone forever. It's the same thing. Again, this is character development right here. This is my character Black. Black was LA's right-hand man, a cold killer at only 19 years old. Page 4. Black, on the other hand, was ruthless, a slim, muscular, 5'8" villain. He had smooth, dark skin that complemented his bald head. A fool could glance into his devilish eyes and know instantly that the kid was not to be fucked with. Know instantly that the kid was not to be fucked with. Killing was in his veins. And if you know Tommy, you know that killing, he's known for that. Killing is in his veins. Same thing. Yes, sir. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power. What I want to get into now, Ghost have a lawyer in Power. There's also a lawyer, a New York attorney, just as it is in Power, a New York attorney who works for Ghost. And in my book, Prince. Let's get right into it. This is the author's narration. And when I'm reading this to you, I just want you to focus on the New York attorney in Power, the Power TV series. Okay? Okay. For Attorney Rockefeller, it didn't matter if he were legit or not, innocent or guilty. When Prince dropped the $50,000 on him, he was hooked. He would come to Prince's aid in rain, sleet, hail, or snow. Money ruled his world, and he knew that Prince had plenty of it. Okay? Now, let's go to Power, the Power TV series. Ghost somehow obtains incriminating evidence against the attorney, and in return, Ghost wants the attorney to represent Tommy. He would come to Ghost's aid under any circumstances because of the leverage Ghost held over him. And that's season 2, episode 9. Lawyers owe the organization, the drug organization, like $12,000. Because of this leverage over the lawyer, he would come to Ghost's aid. Just like in my book, my character gave the lawyer a $50,000 retainer fee. So the lawyer is locked in. We still in Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid. Rockefeller, Prince's New York attorney, knew from experience that Prince was just another ex-drug dealer who changed the game and gone legit, but still had a great amount of respect for him. In his profession, he'd watched many dealers try to make it out of the game and fail because their priorities weren't in order. He'd witnessed many hustlers become rich just like Prince, only to lose it. Chapter 44, page 232. Now, let's go to Power real quick. I just want to show you a similarity. Ghost and the lawyer he hired for Tommy are walking and talking in the park. The lawyer is aware of Ghost's criminal dealings. Ghost speaks. I've considered all the angles. I'm going legit. Trust me. Ghost hands him a cashier's check. Again, Ghost leverage over the attorney. The lawyer asks Ghost for a retainer fee. The lawyer asks Ghost at this meeting for a retainer fee in case future problems arose. Again, in my book, Tribulation of a Ghetto Kid, Prince gave the lawyer $50,000 in case future problems arose. Same thing, man. Same thing. New York attorney, same scenario. We're still on the New York attorney. Let's talk about, and we're dealing with the author's narration. Prince attorney speaks at a bond hearing. My client is a businessman, a model citizen, and a good father. He has no criminal history that would suggest he would be a flight risk. That is chapter 63, page 333. Let's go to Powell. Tommy attorney speaks during bond hearing. In spite of Mr. Agan's past record, his recent behavior shows he has now become an upstanding member of the community as a businessman. I assure you, Your Honor, Thomas Agan is no flight risk. In both scenarios, the lawyer stressed the fact that my client is a businessman. Both scenarios, the lawyer explains that my client is no flight risk. Let's keep moving. Attorney Rockefeller. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Powell. The lawyer, Attorney Rockefeller, he's a New York attorney. In Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, the judge denies a bond hearing. In Powell, the judge denies a bond hearing. And you can see that on season 2, episode 9. The bond hearing is denied, just like in my book. Same scenario. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid. Prince and I already knew the judge wouldn't give him a bond, but hell, it was worth a try. Anyway, chapter 63, page 334. And let's go to Powell. Tommy and attorney are meeting. Tommy tells the lawyer that he effed up his bail hearing. Attorney replies, you were not going to win that one. You were caught red-handed. In both cases, the lawyer says that the client was not going to win the bail hearing. And that's season 2, episode 9. Again, when you look at Powell and you see Angie, she's a U.S. attorney, but you see she still gives Ghost information, keeping them up on certain things about the case. In my book, Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, author's narration. Prince had a cousin by the name of Cherry. She was a clerk down in Manchester Court Building. Cherry called her husband at home and told him to tell Prince that he had an outstanding warrant. So, in both scenarios, Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid and then Powell, in both cases, both Prince, both Ghost, they have an inside connect in law enforcement. They have someone from law enforcement giving them information, beneficial information that could help them. In both scenarios. This is all in my book. The entire 2 seasons is all in my book. Now, we're almost wrapping this thing up. Like I said, this is the short version. Let's go to the detectives. Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Powell. There's a scene in my book where the head detective Daniels, as long as unmarked units are there, they will stay hidden in their holes. Tell your officers to back off until further notice. We want them to relax and get comfortable again. Page 89, chapter 14. Let's go to Powell. So, we're season 1. The head of task force wants the surveillance to end, and instead, she puts her two best qualified agents on the job. It's basically the same thing. In Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, the detective is talking about surveillance, taking off surveillance. In Powell, the task force agent is talking about taking off surveillance. Okay, in both scenarios, in Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, law enforcement is heavy in both the TV series and the book. In the TV series as well as the book, It's a 3-year investigation. Season 1, episode 1. Greg, the FBI played Greg Serrano. I'm not pronouncing that right. But the FBI agent, he has been investigating Lobos for 3 years. Okay, now let's go to Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, the author's narration. Kanan was burning up inside. He hated the thought of a black man beating the system. The last time he saw Prince, Kanan was a regular cop working his way up through the ranks. He arrested Prince for auto theft and told him he wouldn't live to see his 18th birthday. Here it is almost 15 years later, and Kanan was eating those very same words. Not only was Prince over 30, but he was a legit millionaire. Again, the character in Power, Ghost, his goal is to reach Prince's level, to become legit, to be able to sleep at night and not have to worry about the FBI arresting him. You know, that was his goal in Power. That's the goal. If you look at the character in Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, Prince, you will see that these two are really the same people. There's no distinction. Let me give you some more character development for Prince. This is a character black talking about Prince. Look, man, save that shit for somebody that don't know no better. Black responds firmly to agents gaining confidence with each past second. You say you're investigating Prince, right? You know, like I know that Prince still runs shit out here. Don't shit go down without his approval. When shit get real in the streets, who you think he called on? He too scared to get his hands dirty anymore. So what do? Come to a young hungry nigga like myself. That's black speaking about Prince. Talking to agents about Prince. Chapter 36, page 188. Let's go to Power. Okay? There's a scene in season 1, episode 1, where Tommy and Ghost, and this is the conversation. We'll go out and get the guns from Louise tonight. Tommy says to Ghost on his way out the door. Go without me. Take Julio. Ghost says, I gotta handle a few things at the club. You want a place to clean our money long term, right? It gotta stay open. So basically, these two scenarios are the same. In Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid, you have someone talking about Prince not wanting to get his hands dirty. You go to Power and you have Ghost allowing Tommy and his crew members to handle things in the streets, such as murders and things of that nature. Again, in both scenarios, Tribulations, you have someone talking to the FBI about Prince who has become legit and don't want to get his hands dirty. Again, this is Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid versus Power, TV series. And we're still talking about the detectives. So we're going to read the author's narration. Our informant also told us that L.A. and Black were dealing for Percy Miller, a.k.a. Prince, when he was first released from prison. We're hoping that you can put some pressure on them. Maybe they can help us nail Percy Miller, a.k.a. Prince. You're right about him still having a lot of influence, but trust me, there's no connection to him and these latest murders. It's not his style. Maybe 10 years ago when the Juice Crew was running the streets. Chapter 14, page 88. The word on the streets is that he hasn't dealt drugs in years, and no one has seen him do so. Let's go to Power. He's a highly organized individual with an established network in place. He already knows how to move money through the system. This is the FBI agent talking about Ghost. Now, both, as I said, both of these men are essentially the same people. Tribulations versus Power. Detective speaking on Prince. Detective and Captain speaks about Prince. The reason I asked, because at one time he ran these same projects. I'm pretty sure he still has a lot of influence on what goes on. Chapter 4, pages 15 through 20, talking about Prince. Okay. Prince had visited his old projects. Greystone had definitely changed since his days on the block. He sat down on his stoop and observed the little shorties running down cars and holding down the block. Brought back old memories. Chapter 20, page 80. Okay, let's go to Power. Ghost speaks to Q-Dub. Don't forget that this was my neighborhood. Kanan, Tom, and I ran these streets. Anything Roland gave to you, I gave to them first. Ghost speaking. Now, Ghost is having the same very conversation as the agents and the detectives in my book. He's saying that I ran these streets to this young guy that he's talking to when he visited his old projects. In my book, the detective is saying the very same things that he used to run the projects, his neighborhood. And it goes on in my book to say that he went to even visit his old neighborhood. And these scenes, and the scene in Power, when he visits Q-Dub, season 2, episode 1, is the very same scene. My character go back to his old neighborhood, Ghost go back to his old neighborhood. You know, it's virtually the same thing. And then my book is chapter 20, page 80. And so as I said before, man, I mean, the TV show that you all know is Power is not an original show. It's actually easy to come up with power when you have Tribulations of a Ghetto Kid to work with. The entire 2 seasons of Power comes from my book. The entire 2 seasons, with the exception of the Puerto Rican Angie and, you know, a few little things. But for the most part, that's my story. I created all the main characters. All the key characters in the TV series comes from my book. And I can show you, I just showed you, from character descriptions to character traits, everything. So I'm just curious, like, what writing did you really do? If you saying that you created this show and you originated this show, then I'm calling you a liar, because it's not true, and I can prove it. So, you know, we'll be definitely seeing each other soon. Thank you.